If you don't know what an MMO is, it stands for Mass Media Online Role Playing Game, MMORPG.
That's stupid! You're stupid! Stop being stupid!
G'day, how are we? So, in case anybody doesn't know, a new project has kind of had an increase in interest called Earth 2, which seems to be advertising itself as a real estate version of Bitcoin, is how I've kind of interpreted it. But when it comes to the more nitty-gritty details, I think you should either go to the website yourself to have a read of it if you just want to learn about it of your own accord, or maybe try this deep dive video from BigFry TV. And I'd also suggest checking out Arya TV, Sid Alpha, and even Upper Echelon Gamers has done a video on it. Now, this video that I'm going to be showing comes from an Earth 2 investor. He's one of, if not the highest investor for the quote-unquote game at the moment. And he responded to several of these YouTubers who were calling the project a scam. And me being me and trying to jump on the hype train a little bit, figured, well, why not try to rustle some feathers? And who knows, maybe I'll piss off enough people in the Earth 2 community that they'll come and give me some hate clicks on the video or something. And I also feel like I could very easily respond to some of these points with some constructive feedback for Earth 2 Arya Realty. So first off, on BigFry's Twitter, he made mention of ads that started running for Earth 2, and they came about the day after his initial video on the project, which his video was nothing more than just a quick reaction video during his stream. Now, we don't know which method helped gain more traction, but I would hazard a guess that a video highlighting a potentially dodgy scam isn't exactly going to convince many people to spend money on that project. Ads do work, especially on those misinformed enough to give money to a scam.
Some bigger channels with thousands of subscribers are straight bashing Earth 2 with no real evidence. And they keep using Matt Lorian as a guide for the stuff that they're talking about. His videos are old, like months old. He's not even a real active Earth 2 like YouTube channel.
I've watched BigFry, Sid Alpha, and Kira TV's videos on the project. Not a single one of their videos uses this YouTuber as a pillar to base their arguments off of. His inclusion is merely an example of what to expect from fellow Earth 2 YouTubers who are mainly acting as advertisers by use of their referral code, which you seem to also be doing, and this point becomes proven in a little while.
Most of the things they're saying are wrong, or just straight inaccurate, or super old information.
Spoiler alert, this statement doesn't really get backed up, nor do you really see him dismantle any established arguments from the other YouTubers.
Like, sometimes 5 months isn't that much, and nothing really happens within 5 months, but with Earth 2, a lot of things happen, so you can't really use videos that are months old. Earth 2 has experienced a thing called hypergrowth, where they went absolutely nuts for like, I think, a month, maybe 6 weeks, in like December and most of January, and went absolutely bananas. It went from like 50 cents a tile for a United States tile up to like $59 now.
So his issue is information that is supposedly out of date, then mentions the growth that Earth 2 had over the course of a month. I assume what he's trying to say is that a lot can happen in a short amount of time, but he doesn't even seem to dismantle the arguments that the other guys have made. He makes mention that their arguments are out of date, says months ago they had large growth by way of tiles increasing in price, but he doesn't sit down and tell us what of their information is out of date. So essentially his argument kind of boils down to, now whether this was by accident or he forgot to include his argument, but it essentially comes down to these YouTubers have out of date information because tile prices went up over the course of a month. How is that even a relevant point to make?
And then the referral system. For anybody who buys with your code, you get 5% off, and they get 5% off. So if you want to jump into this, if you're new and you're not in Earth 2 already, just use this code right here. Towards the end of the checkout, when you're highlighting tiles and you want to buy, just put that code in there, and then you get 5% off kickback to your account.
Now here's some of the issue that I have. Receiving concrete proof from you, or even a convincing argument, is going to be noticeably harder because there is too much of a conflict of interest here. You're setting out to prove the game is not a scam, and in that same video, you're sharing your supposed earnings and spouting the same marketing speech for your referral codes. Inserting the referral codes is not a necessary step to proving the game is not a scam. It only harms the intent of your video. Because now the issue is you know that you have money to make on this project. And yes, you haven't tried to hide that or anything. You were very upfront and honest about the fact that you are an investor. You do have money riding on this. But that's why it's all the more important to set the marketing speech aside and address the arguments made, dismantle them, and prove them to be wrong. That is how you convince people that your view is correct or more educated than someone else's.
Or picture it this way. Back in like the 1700s, 1800s, when people are just starting coming into America and then buying all the land, is that a scam? That's more or less the same thing. Yeah, it's real properties and real estate, but what's really the difference?
People buying land during the establishment of America as a country is not more or less the same thing. Surely further explanation is not needed. Not to mention the fact that during the 1700s, a lot of land wasn't exactly bought and traded with contracts in place or anything. Can I create an Earth 2 account right now and bully you out of your land?
Now the future of Earth 2 is it's going to have resources and buildings and like a robust economy where you have to buy resources from other players so you can build up your buildings and your bases and whatnot. Think of RTS games, real-time strategy games, like Command and Conquer or Warcraft 3, The Frozen Throne, where you have to get resources to build up your base. That's kind of the same thing with this. Like, these channels really don't think that this can't exist.
Asking if these channels actually think that the game portion can't exist is not only a poor question to ask, but you didn't even elaborate as to how it could possibly exist, given the relatively small team, budget, considering the goals that they're trying to hit, and lack of real-world technology to make it possible. These YouTubers are doubting the existence of this game because it's just not feasible. So it's either up to you, other Earth 2 investors, or the dev team themselves to show how something like this could possibly exist.
They brought up the terms of service, which the term of service says that they can pretty much pack their bags and then walk off and then never be seen again and take all the money. It doesn't really work like that. I mean, you can't just take people's money and then run off and just think that some terms of service is going to save you. But that is every company. Every single company has some weird terms of service which try to protect them or kind of protect them. It's just legal mumbo jumbo and clauses and stuff. Here, let me prove it to you, and let me embarrass the bigger YouTube channels a little bit. The very platform that you publish your content on, and so do I, YouTube. Let's bring up YouTube's terms of service and read it. Now this is direct from YouTube. What does that sound like? That sounds exactly very similar to Earth 2's terms of service. So, I guess YouTube is a scam. According to the logic of these bigger channels, YouTube's a scam.
Now, a bit of the difference with the Earth 2 policies is that they're very clearly writing this so as to waive away all responsibility that goes into ensuring their customers are able to make smart decisions and not end up in a shitty situation money-wise. They're pretty much saying that any information on the website does not have to be up to date and it does not have to be accurate. I don't have to pay YouTube to use its service. It's one of the beautiful things about it. If I want to go and watch some videos, I can go and watch those videos. I don't have to pay YouTube money to upload a video and then cross my fingers that they allow the video to be published. If I had to pay money to YouTube just to get my video processed for publishing, and then it was a flip of the coin as to whether or not it was going to be published, maybe then you could say the two are very similar and that maybe YouTube is also a scam. But that's not how it works. So it's a rather silly point to make.
Now they brought up old, outdated withdrawals, where it would take months to get your money and exceedingly difficult to receive your funds. And they're trying to push that really hard. They don't realize that that's old information because they were pulling up old videos. If we just took 5 minutes to actually use some research, you'd find out that you can get direct to debit withdrawal methods. But you can get that in within 24 hours.
This whole direct debit thing came out after the original videos. Don't be dishonest. At least watch the videos as they come out so you can keep yourself informed. The fact that it's a trial anyway should be raising alarm bells, as it's clearly a knee-jerk reaction and the company doesn't seem to plan to release a non-invasive way to receive your money.
Look at Wolfgang Wog or Dylan So. Their backgrounds are absolutely mind-blowing. Dylan So was the founder of Oculus from Korea, the Korea team.
Supposed founder of Oculus. At least Google these people instead of perpetuating false info. BigFry has a very informative video if you would like to learn about the developers involved in this game. I highly recommend at least watching that if you're not going to look these people up yourself.
They're too big to fail.
Too big to fail is not an actual argument that works in favor of your video. Need I remind you about the Google Stadia?
And then Wolfgang Walk has been in video games for 30 some years. Like, he's part of the Settler series, which is extremely popular and well polished, where they had to deal with resources. Yeah, you think you're just going to put resource in Earth 2 and just like, nah, I'm just kidding. And then just peace out.
A member coming from an actual developed game using resources is not an indication of anything.
I honestly hope they keep their videos up so in like 2025 we can go back and be like, oh, remember these? They were so wrong. You just gotta have an open mind, guys. You're so closed-minded.
If us who are doubting this project have to be open-minded, then why are you pushing so hard to solidify this project as not a scam and that it can't possibly be anything else? Shouldn't you have an open mind and be open to the possibility that it is a scam and that it might fail? To finish this video off is this absolutely beautiful moment where he starts advertising some sort of Bitcoin-like app that you can get on your phone. And his point about it definitely being legit is because a doctor is involved in it, which is a silly fucking point anyway. It just goes back to the point made earlier about how this person's name is attached to the project, so that way it's definitely going to be a success.
Where you can mine cryptocurrency on your phone completely free. It's like a new thing they're starting. And it's run by a Stanford doctor graduate, so you know it's legit.
Results and proof of concept is how you determine whether or not a project is legit. Not a singular name who could be attaching their name to the project for various reasons. Either they're just attaching it to make a quick buck, maybe they're doing it as a tax write-off, or maybe they themselves plan to scam people out of money. Like, who knows what the reason is, but just having the name attached to it does not indicate success. Now, my opinion of this project is I would very much like for it to succeed. If this is going to be some crazy new thing that's going to change the landscape of gaming or even the Bitcoin market, or rather Bitcoin real estate market, depending on how you want to look at it, I'm all for that. That'd be really cool. I'd love to see that unfold. But unfortunately, everything that's being promised is unproven. All the defenses people are making for the game always come back to, I've made money, so therefore it's not a scam. And they seem to completely ignore the fact that this entire concept pretty much cannot happen because the technology is just not there, and even ignore the flat out invasive requirements just to get your money back. And that's just a couple of the reasons why I think, in my opinion, this is a scam. Until the next video, have a good one.